On this week's episode of Sports Page, we take a look at football senior day and Jenny Soccer's successful weekend at the MIAA tournament.
We'll recap Mules Cross Country's trip to Kearney, Nebraska, and preview basketball season. Stay tuned as we discuss all things UCM sports. Welcome to this week's episode of Sports Page. Alongside my co-host, Jada Hill, I'm Allie Overstreet. Jenny's soccer MIAA tournament journey started out last Wednesday hosting Emporia State. They shut them out 4-0. Senior Abby Rhodes produced 3 of the goals, while senior Bailey Edwards added to the score after an assist coming from Rhodes. The Jennies then took on Fort Hays State in the semifinals on Friday, where they posted their 18th shutout of the season. All 3 of the goals for the game were scored in the first half. They came from Edwards, Kayla Hamner, and Michaela Toth. This win took the Jennies onto the MIAA championship game, and Jada has those highlights.
On Championship Sunday, the number 1 seeded Jennies took on the number 2 seeded Missouri Western, a team they defeated twice before in the regular season. Kayla Hamner's corner kick hits Jada Scott just right to smack it in for the first goal of the game, giving the Jennies some momentum, leaving the score 1-0. The Gens try to keep that going before break as Malin Woolley's goal attempt is just shy of the goal, but Emily Griffin is there to kick it in, pushing up the Jennies 2-0, giving the Jennies a handful of spunk going into the break. But that break does not seem to last too long before the Jennies are back on the field with a lot of force. We see Abby Rhodes shows off her power and speed with a nice goal to put up the Jennies up 3-0. Feeding off of each other's hard work and excitement, these Jennies just keep fighting. But the Griffins are ready to change the pace a little bit as they sneak one past the fingertips of senior goalkeeper Anna Dilks, leaving the score 3-1 Gens. But the Jennies did not let that bother them, and they still had plenty of goals to give as we see Kayla Hamner slap one in for the Jennies, leaving the final score 4-1 Jennies. Senior goalkeeper Anna Dilks added 2 more shutouts to her record, giving her a season best of 18. Her shutout at the Emporia State game broke the NCAA Division II record with 60 shutouts. She extended that record against Fort Hays State to 61.
Jennies Soccer has 8 seniors helping them succeed this season. Our own Will McLaughlin sat down with the leading goal scorer for the Jennies.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Senior Spotlight. Joining me in the studio today is senior forward from the Jennies soccer team, Abby Rhodes. Abby, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
Now, coming into this year, you had to redshirt last season due to injury. What has it been like to come back from injury and now be able to play with this year's group, which is slightly different from what you had last season?
Coming back was definitely a different experience, different players, different dynamic. I feel really blessed to be a part of the team that we have this year, and I hope that we can keep going.
Now, speaking on this year's team, 18-0 in the regular season, a perfect 11-0 mark in conference play. No other team in the country in Division II was able to finish undefeated with in the regular season without a tie. What was it like going through the entirety of the year in non-conference and in conference games? Just kind of being able to play at such high of a level to where not one team was able to hand you a loss in the regular season.
It was quite the experience. Going through this year without a loss, it was definitely special. It made this year not more special than the rest, but it made it different. So a different experience, especially being my senior year. It was just really exciting and fun that every game we could come out on top, and hopefully we keep that going.
Now, like you said, with a different class this year, you and I have spoken a number of times early on throughout the season with everything going on, but with this senior group, it's not your original senior class that you came in with, but what has it been like to play with this group of players? Kayla Hamner, who is the MIAA Defensive Player of the Year, Anna Dilks, Goalkeeper of the Year, and the new Division II all-time record holder in career shutouts with 60. There's a number of players on here, Bailey Edwards, Michaela Modiri, Callie Henshaw, just a whole group of them that at every point has done something phenomenal or has been a major key for this group. So what's it been like to be the older senior with this group?
It's definitely been different. Not graduating with my class was not expected, as you might assume. But coming into this class, they welcomed me with open arms. Like you said, they all kind of contribute something different. So whether they started here, which would be my sophomore year, or they transferred in, they've all kind of given you a different perspective or a different quirk on the team. And I think that it makes it that much more fun of an experience with UCM soccer.
Okay, now I've asked you this earlier in the year, but in your time here, what has been a favorite moment for you? Like, what sticks out, like, among all the games you have played, among the number of games you have won, obviously, what is one highlight moment that really, like, sticks to you all the time?
I would say that the biggest highlight was making it into that Elite 8 game, so winning the Sweet 16. Michaela Modiri hitting that beautiful shot, and then everyone's excitement and energy levels just going through the roof. I mean, we were all in tears. We were running on the field, dogpiling. Even Lewis joined in. So definitely memorable. I remember everything from the game itself to the heated tents we had to sit in at halftime. So it was just a different experience, and it kind of brought a new perspective to the game, and obviously very exciting time of the year.
Now, you mentioned Lewis Theobald. We'll end it on this note, but he's a great coach for this university. He's a 9-time MIAA Coach of the Year after this season. Has helped lead this team to 3 straight Central Region championships. What has it been like for you to play under somebody of that high of a caliber when it comes to coaching?
It's definitely pressure. It's the pressure that you want as an athlete. I mean, he pushes you every single day, whether you want him to or not. If it's a bad day, he's going to make you do better than the day before, and you just try to progress every day that you're on the field, and he definitely brings that out of you. So there's a method to the madness, but it's definitely some madness here and there.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you coming into the studio. We wish you the best of luck going forward in the postseason, and thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Will. The Jennies may have earned another title this past weekend, but their season isn't over yet. Monday night, they received the #1 seed in the Central Region for the NCAA tournament. They get the chance to host the first and second rounds. This Sunday, they will face off against either #4 seed Augustana or #5 seed Bemidji State, who face off this Friday. Kickoff is set for 1 in the afternoon on Friday and Sunday at Jennies Field. Stay tuned because after this break, we'll discuss cross country's regional results, take a look at highlights from Jennies volleyball, and later see how Jennies bowling is doing.
Historic, unique, exciting. As challenges continue to test the mettle of Americans, your community has to depend on willing citizens just like you to answer the call and respond to local disasters and other times of crisis. You may be surprised to find out who we are and what we do. In fact, it could actually be your story too. The Air National Guard.
I choose excitement.
I choose to make a difference.
I choose uncommon opportunities.
I choose Red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose Red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
My parents met because they both worked on the railroad. There was actually no question I was going to go to work on the railroad. I knew that from the very beginning when I was a little kid. My dad taught me to be kind and think about other people. And that is what I'm trying to instill in my family. My granddaughter is named June Elizabeth, but I call her Junebug. My hope is to teach her about kindness and about the love of animals and nature. I want Junebug to have the same opportunities I had by watching PBS. It has helped me understand so many things in our world. My husband and I feel so strongly about our PBS station that we've included them in our estate plan.
Call 1-800-753-3436.
PBS is part of our values, things that we cherish, and we want to pass it on to the next generation.
UCM cross-country teams traveled to Kearney, Nebraska last weekend for the NCAA Central Region Championship. The Jennies finished 15th overall, wrapping up their season. The Mules finished third, allowing them to advance to the NCAA National Championships for the first time since 2013. The Mules were led by freshman Shadrach Kipnitich, who earned all-region honors with his 14th place finish. The next finisher for UCM was Ronald Ayabe, coming in 27th. Ty Hughes, Ian Frazier, and Nick Victor followed him. The Mules will travel to Evansville, Indiana, Saturday, November 18th for Nationals.
Jennies volleyball has just 2 more games before they begin postseason. They were ranked number 19 for the second week in a row in the American Volleyball Coaches Association poll. Let's take a look at highlights from this past weekend. After their loss against Washburn back in September, the Jennies came ready to play. The Gens ended up losing the opening set, but came back to win the next 3. Ichabod's Jenna Berg matched Jennies' Aubrey Bell with a game best of 14 kills overall. She even picked up a double-double, adding 13 digs during this game. The Jennies continued to have a rough and fast-paced match. The Ichabods kept finding open spots, making UCM scramble. Jennies' Audrey Fisher managed to slam the ball down and achieve a point off of a Washburn error. Hannah Van Buskirk had a massive approach and got the ball through 2 blockers for a kill point. Fisher was given a beautiful back set and cross-killed the ball for a Jennies point. She had 13 kills and 7 blocks overall. Seniors Molly Lawrence and Casey Holland strategically set up a double block to put the ball back down on Washburn's side. Bell and Holland kept the blocking momentum going with another strong deny for the Ichabods. UCM had a total of 11 blocks this game. Bell managed to adjust to Washburn's blocker and land the ball down for a Jennies point. Washburn entered the game with the best blocking numbers in the MIAA, but it was the Jennies who won the battle at the net, outblocking the Ichabods 11-8. A pair of UCM errors brought the lead back by 2, 23-21, and forced a timeout, but kills from Aubrey Bell and Audrey Fisher ended the set. The Jennies remained undefeated at home after this game. The Jennies ended their weekend Saturday night by sweeping the Emporia State. It took extra points in 2 of the 3 sets, but with this win, the Jennies are now 12-4 in conference play. They have their home finale this Friday at 7 p.m. against Southwest Baptist, where they will honor their 4 seniors.
Mules Wrestling opened up their season at the Baker University Dan Harris Open last Sunday. Junior Caleb Warner earned a first-place finish for the Mules. Warner went 4-0, 2 wins by decision, and the other 2 coming way of pen and medical forfeit. Andrew Tujak was the next top finisher for the Mules in second. 7 other Mules were place finishers. They will be back in action on Sunday, where they will compete in the Show Me State duels against Truman State, Missouri Valley College, and host Mizzou. Now let's take a look at another Mules team that was successful this past weekend. Mules Senior Day was this past Saturday at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field, and the emotions were in full effect for the senior class as the Mules took on Northeastern State in their last homestand in Warrensburg. The Mules started off early as Brooke Bowles was wide open looking to throw and drives and slides in for a Mules touchdown 7-0. The Mule kickers have the spunk, and then that seems to transfer to the field as we see Kobe Wilkerson as the ball carrier rushing towards the end zone with a few stop and goes for a big Mules first down to move the chains. The Mules are on a roll with their running game as Devontae Turner gets the handoff, shifting and shaking to kick up the lead 14-0. This next play is what brought some excitement for the Mules. Brooke Bowles cocks back and fires a beautiful pass to Jalen Zachary, resulting in a big first down for the Mules.
Bowles lobs a pass to Wilkerson for a 13-yard run touchdown in the 4th quarter to help push the lead forward. Bowles managed a touchdown of his own as well for the Mules to put them on the scoreboard. After Saturday's performance, Bowles now leads Division II in total passing yards and total offense. He has 3,223 passing yards and 3,687 total yards. Down 45-24, the Riverhawks' chance at redemption was put to rest thanks to an interception from the Mules with just over 5 minutes to play. The Mules sealed the deal with Stephen Ford's touchdown and forcing a fumble on the ensuing kickoff that they recovered. With the win, the Mules finished 4-0 at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field for the 2017 season. For the second time this season, Bowles was named the MIAA Offensive Player of the Week. The Mules were ranked 10th this week in NCAA Central Region rankings. The top 7 are chosen for playoffs. The Mules' regular season finale is this Saturday at Lindenwood. Game time is set for 1 p.m. After this break, we will check in with Jennies basketball, and later we'll discuss a new trend of touchdown dances in the NFL.
I choose red to blaze my own trail.
I choose red to be with students and faculty who make me feel at home.
I wanted a university with a big picture perspective. That's why I chose red.
Why do you choose red?
Choose red.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri. Choose red. Can I do that? Is that allowed?
I really do enjoy volunteering. I like to think that I have made a difference. That's enough. I don't need to be patted on the back. I've included my PBS station in my future plans. It's not a big gift, but something that will help them.
Consider including KMOS in your plans. For more information, call 1-800-753-3436.
Every little bit helps. If we can do a whole lot of little bits, then we've done a great service.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Welcome back. Jenny's Bowling traveled to Houston, Texas this past weekend for the Sam Houston State Cat Classic, where they finished 8th overall. Over the 3-day span, the Jennies went 8-5. During bracket play, they fell to Tulane 4-2 and fell to Louisiana Tech 4-1. They bounced back in their final match against Alabama Birmingham, where they won the series 4-3. Jennies Bowling is back in action this weekend in the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawk Invitational.
Mules basketball is gearing up for their official season opener this weekend. They are traveling to the Wisconsin Dells to take on Minnesota Duluth and Bemidji State. They come home to the multipurpose building next week for the Fairfield Classic. They play Cameron on Thursday and Maryville on Saturday.
In the Women's Basketball Coaches Association preseason poll, Jennies basketball was ranked 13th. They finished 22nd last year after making it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Dale Fowler sat down with the Jennies head coach to look at the start of the season.
Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner, along with Jennies basketball coach Dave Slifer. How you doing today, Coach?
Great, Dale.
That's good. So, this upcoming season is, it's on its way. So, how do you feel about that?
We're very, very excited. We were 24-7 last year. We increased our win total by 13 and feel like we should be better this year. We've got more experienced kids. Our freshmen are going to be sophomores now. We've got a good senior class, and we've got some all MIAA kids that are coming back for hopefully it'll be a wonderful long season.
And like you were saying before, just mentioning the all MIAA, players that's coming back, with Paige Redmond being number 1, and then you have Keanu Lee and then Megan Skaggs getting all MIAA honorable mentions. So how do you feel about those players returning and just really helping you contribute to what you was trying to do last year?
Well, you got to start with Paige Redmond, who ended up as a freshman, played in quite a few minutes, played 7 or 8 minutes a game, or 7 or 8 points a game. And then last year she bumped that up to about 16. So it's going to be interesting. We've got a lot of players that can put the ball in the hole. I don't know whether she's going to average 16 points a game or not, but she could even be a better contributor with some other things that she does. Keanu Lee is arguably the best defender in the league. She can guard 1 through 5. She really disrupts the other team, what they're trying to do. And then Megan Skaggs had a nice freshman year, and we look for her to be even more consistent this year.
Yes, and the players you mentioned, I did do a couple of games last year, really watching how they played and how they really involved. And just what do they really do for this team, like the leadership that they bring, like you said before, Keanu Lee being a senior, what do she need to do this year to make sure her team is really doing what they have to do and get further than what they did last year?
Well, Keanu is used to winning, and she won a national championship at Johnson County Community College. And so she knows that her job's not always just to score, but it's to guard, it's to rebound, it's to control the game on both ends of the floor by the way she controls the glass. And if you're, what's exciting is that Paige Redmond is a very talented kid, and she's also our hardest worker. You see her in the gym more than anybody else, and so she's more of a leader by example. Kay does it just by going and hitting the glass so hard. And then there's Morgan Fleming should be back this year. She had a broken leg last year. Only got to play 12 games as a freshman when we were starting 2 freshmen in Megan Skaggs and Morgan Fleming. So we look for her to have a great bounce back year.
Yes, and I know she's ready for that bounce back year for sure. So do you feel these incoming players that that you have brought in can just really move along with the team and just really hop aboard and just ready to get to it?
Well, I tell you, one of the exciting things we're doing is playing Kayana with Jolene Ships. Jolene Ships is an All-American from a junior college, and she's a 6'3" young lady that's kind of a rodeo kind of background. So she's a rough and tumble kind of gal. I feel like that by playing both those kids together, they're going to be, provide a lot of matchup problems. And I think that all year long you're going to see us try to exploit matchups where Morgan Fleming and Megan Skaggs, who are going to play the 2, 3, and 4, they're going to be inside a lot. So they'll be posting up. If they put a small guard on them, we'll post them up. If they put a big kid in, they go outside, shoot threes, and we'll put Kay and Jolene in there.
That's some great strategies right there. I know last year is what you was really actually known for, watching the games, coming out and just seeing how do game plan for each game, and it just takes a lot of thought and knowledge just to really try to get your team to come together. But is there anything new we should really expect this upcoming season?
Well, the game's changed some. And with the rules changes, I think that you're going to see more and more teams have to play some zone defense. Last year, I think 35% of the time we played zone. I fully expect that to be closer to 50% this year. So we'll mix it up between man-to-man and zone, and it kind of depends on the game, who we're playing, what kind of outside shooting they have, and how well they attack zones. So I see us playing kind of a 50-50 type team of whether we're going to be playing man or zone.
Well, that's all we have today for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. Make sure to tune in next time and see you then.
Thanks, Dale. Jennies look to start their season in Kansas City this weekend, playing the University of Mary and Northern State.
After this break, we'll discuss the new trend in the NFL for this week's segment of Pro Talk. Stay tuned.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids that don't know where they will get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength in Food Network and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
I choose to be a champion.
I choose to be inspired.
I choose the perfect fit.
I choose red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
I support one student in college with a scholarship. Just the way I want to pass on a legacy of education. I would like to pass PBS on to the next generation.
For more information, call 1-800-753-3436.
I like to think that PBS is concerned with our soul. If your soul is in the right place, you're in giving back.
Welcome back for this week's Pro Talk. We're discussing the trend of touchdown dances and celebrations within the NFL. Okay, Allie, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and we always, everyone loves to celebrate after they score. But what we were kind of going more into is the whole sportsmanship-like thing. We've seen sometimes in the NFL, even in college, someone scoring and they have, a little too much excitement. They'll get a penalty and it'll go on the next kickoff or so forth. So what kind of thoughts do you have on just that in general?
Well, I feel like now in the sports, whenever we watch all the games and stuff, I feel like certain players have their go-tos, what they're gonna do. So those are accepted, but there are certain things that can be deemed, like you said, as unsportsmanlike. So I know that the refs do come down the players for that, and sometimes they get the touchdown or goal taken away, or whatever it may be. So I'm wondering if this may be something that they get rid of altogether.
Yeah, so you're thinking that, okay, there's no celebration, but then that takes away from the whole fun of the sport. Whenever you're at the NFL level, you're at this professional level, scoring is kind of a big deal. I mean, especially you got to think about some of these rookies. They're scoring for the first time in the NFL on the big stage. I mean, that's a big deal. They want to celebrate. So how can we kind of tell them that they can, or it's too much celebration?
It's honestly something that has to do with psychology and personal preference, because I know when I played volleyball in high school and I do intramurals here, if I get a good block, it's an automatic reaction just to bring my fist down and jump and yell. But for some of the players, they may do other things, obscene things or say certain things. But also with the sportsmen, whenever they celebrate in the end zone, wherever it may be, we have to keep in mind during the plays too, there's smack talk, there's things that are said, there's shoving. So it's you have to take that into account whenever you think about the showboating as well.
And so do you think, I was just thinking about this as you were talking, we see, okay, so say you score a touchdown, you're excited. I'm on the opposing team and I'm probably a little upset. Do you think that some of the refs call these penalties because of the things that kind of go on between, I guess, the one-on-one aspect of it, as, okay, that was kind of rude to that player, I'm going to call a flag?
Well, like I said earlier, I honestly think it's personal preference, because you have certain refs with certain different personalities. But I think if prior in that game, if maybe that player who was upset, the opposing team, if they were treating the refs better and were having better sportsmanship, then yeah, maybe the ref is going to reprimand the player who showboated over the top. So I think it just really depends on how your sportsmanship as a whole during the whole game is and how you perceive yourself in the sport.
I definitely agree with you there, but I still kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't want to see this kind of go away as an
definitely
aspect.
Not.
It's so exciting. I mean, these people are happy that they scored, and with whatever sport it would be, like you said, in volleyball. And we even see our girls here, as we were watching our highlights earlier, Casey Holland, we see them excited once they get a block, and just the excitement and coming together as a whole, we saw it with the soccer team. And so, is it unsportsmanlike or is it not? And I kind of think in a way it's as bringing that team together, excitement, we are doing something together, we are doing this
exactly,
team thing.
The hugging and the getting hyped up. I think there's a fine line between the good sportsman behavior and the bad sportsman, the shouting profanities, doing kind of inappropriate things. But the hugging, the high fives, the yelling, the funny little dance moves they do, I think that's perfectly fine. But I mean, if you continue to do it a couple minutes after the touchdown is over, then I can see that as being over the top.
And you know what? It might just be an aspect is some of the bad lights that we see is kind of overpowering the good in that aspect. Because even though we see, sometimes even going into games, there's social media. So we see guys talking stuff on the social media before the games. So the game's even more hostile. And then I think that does cause more penalties to come in there.
Exactly. And I also think it has to do a lot with the coaches and older men on the team or women on the team that have an influence on the younger players, so they kind of feed off that and feed off the coaches. So if the coaches are loudmouths on the side, then the players are going to be the exact same.
You know what? I definitely agree for you. That is all the time we're going to have for this edition of Sports Page. Tune in the next time and catch up on all things UCM Sports. For my co-host, Allie Overstreet, I'm Jada Hill.
What?